Every time I take this bad boy off, 15-inch rotors, 6 piston Brembos. I'm stoked. She's gonna be a fun driver. So for today, we're gonna be doing some suspension work on the F100. I wanna drive this hard. It's a static ride height. It's lower to the point. Rear, I'm okay, but the front, I'm getting interference with the fenders. So I need to raise up the suspension in the front. I'm guessing about 2 inches. The rear, I need to raise that up 2 inches, obviously, to level out the ride height. There's an aftermarket suspension on the truck, or was on the previous Mustang. It is already maxed out on the coil bucket spacer on the rear, so I can't raise it up anymore back to factory ride height, basically, is probably what I need for a Mustang. Still gonna be super low for the truck, but I needed more adjustability in the rear of the truck. So that's kind of what we're gonna be working on today. The front coilovers, they're through ISC, real quality coilovers, great company. I think they offer lifetime warranty, great customer service. They have enough adjustability in the front to be able to raise that ride height up. And we're gonna do that today. I'll set preload, and then we're gonna install some parts on the rear to get us back up to level the truck. I contacted ISC, say, hey, I have a 2016 Mustang Performance Pack. I have your ISC N1 coilovers and rear suspension on the truck, or on the car. And I need to bring it back up to factory ride height. I'm guessing it was lowered about 2 to 3 inches by the previous owner. I need it factory ride height because I'm doing kind of a unique build. I channeled and sectioned a 63 Unibody F100 onto this chassis, and I'm hitting my front tires. I wanna drive this truck, I wanna autocross it. I've even been thinking about doing drift stuff. I'll put it, I mean, the Mustangs, the S550 chassis Mustang, I've seen tons of guys out there doing drifting with angle kits, and if this truck was set up the way it is and had an angle kit on the front and did drifting, that would be ridiculous. Back to my story, I call ISC. I need to, do you have any more coil spacers or anything I could do in the back to raise that rear suspension, because I need it a little higher to match the front, which has fender clearance. So usually, I've been in a lot of situations like this, I'm sure you guys have, if you build stuff that's custom and you're kind of retrofitting parts in a way, usually the companies don't give you the time of day because it's a hassle, and not the case with ISC, so I want to give them a shout out. I think I spoke with Andrew and he said, oh man, cool build. Yeah, let me call my engineers and see what we could possibly make work. And I was shocked, because usually you're not given that time of day. So he called me back that day and said, hey, I've got an adjustable coil bucket that has a little more height on it. You can install that and get back to factory ride height and have a little more adjustability to raise it up if you needed to. Here's basically the part. You can see it's a rear coil bucket spacer. Coil sits here, be upside down like this, or like this. This is the meat, and then the coil sits here, and then this is the threaded adjuster. We can thread it down and actually raise up the suspension a little bit. Thank you for putting in the extra effort to look and see what I could retrofit on the truck. That's a lifesaver. And then they also sent me some adjusters for the front. Let's get into it. Got the tires off, got her jacked up on jack stands. Here's what we're gonna do. We can take this little threaded nut here. We're going to twist the whole coil over, extend it, adjust the ride height that way. These two are basically gonna adjust the preload. ISC Suspension recommends preloading this spring at 5 millimeters. And by the looks of it up here, it's a 180 millimeter spring with 9 kilogram for the spring rate. From the Mustang to the truck, weights differed a little bit, so long term, I want to probably get with ISC and we'll spec out. They have a triple rate spring that's real nice, and I'll maybe weigh the front, back, total weight of the vehicle, weigh the 4 corners maybe, and spec out a spring specifically to this new kind of chassis. So probably just raise it 2 inches and we'll go from there. I can always raise this pretty easy. We'll get to the back buckets and see what those look like, and then I can go up or down with this if I need to. And move on to the back. I about raised it a little over probably 2 inches, 2.5 inches. So I've got room to go either way. Locked it down here. This is adjusting the height here, and then set the spring preload. This is a 180 millimeter spring. ISC recommends doing 5 millimeter preload, so that's what I did, measured 175, and then locked these collars. Bo, what you working on over there?
My monster truck.
Cool.
This jackhammer is only too loud for a monster.
Yeah, that's sweet here.
Wait, what's this right here?
That's a chisel. That thing's sweet, dude.
Thank you.
What you working on right there? You jackhammering the metal plate? I like your tool belt. Okay, I gotta get back to work.
Okay.
Quick little side project with the radiator. I want to knock this out and kind of show you what I got going on here. So, radiator support. I do have these posts. I kind of got one mocked up here. So the way it kind of looks, it's like this, nice rubber isolator, and then a plate. What I'm going to do is make, this one's kind of mocked up. I ground down the back side here, you can see, so I can put a plate in there and it's flush. What we're working with is, there's only horizontal pressure here. It's not vertical, so it doesn't have to be supportive in that sense. What I'm going to do is build a little 2-inch plate, 1 inch by 2 inch, have it stick out 1.5 inches. I don't want it to come too far out into this. Like I said, it only supports the radiator from moving front to back. There's bushings and everything in the K-member that support for the vertical. So I don't want a huge plate sticking off here, because if I do need to remove the condenser radiator, yeah bud? Hey goofball, got my helper out here with me today. I want to have just a tiny bracket so I can slide this stuff out. That's what we're looking at. We're going to build a plate, weld it in. I'm going to tap a hole 5/16 bolts, run them through these holes that are already here, clean this up, and then I'll probably steel it, coat it. Let's get to it. So here we go. Put some steelite coating. We've got our little 1-inch tab by 2-inch. These are priced temporary. I'll probably do some black oxide bolts, some rubber isolator. She is solid. I can't even move her. Using these are the factory brackets, so with the welded tabs. I put some heat insulation here because this upper radiator hose pushed into the head. So just ever so slightly, it's just resting against that head. So I put a heat sleeve there that could take direct heat. We also, this is the ambient air temp sensor I need to use with the electronics of the Mustang. So that's attached here, and then drilled some holes and attached some zip ties to secure this factory wiring to the rear. right, guys, I got the suspension, the rear adjusted up, the front to what I thought it was. Check it out. It's a gasser. Yeah, if you can see, I've got way too much height in the front. I think my miscalculation, good thing is we have plenty of adjustability in the coilovers, but I went way too high. I needed the angle of the A-arms, the coilover being off of that, raising it, 2 inches in the back, swings it way more in the front. So let me fix it. Okay, wait right there, okay, bud? All right, guys, so got the truck pulled out. Here is the stance after the suspension adjustments. Looks pretty good. I definitely can tell it's higher. It's a few inches higher, which, is what we want. I have to be able to get full lock in the front wheels. I want this to be a driver. It's not on airbags. It's gonna be at static height. And the front tire is, I'm fender is about mid tire. I'll kind of show you guys something. Looks like I could probably drop another 1/2 inch to 1 inch in the front. And then the back is raked a little bit, so I could actually drop the back, maybe 1 inch or 1.5 inches, and it'd give us a little bit lower stance, which is what I want. I want to be a driver, but I like it low, so I can show you guys how it looks in the lock position. Let me start this old girl up. She purrs like a kitten. Let's give her a little rip. Okay, she's happy now. All right, so beautiful thing about power steering, or I should say electric power steering. So here's what we look like from the front. So maybe I'm a little optimistic. I can just get my finger, 1/2 of a finger. It's maybe 1/4 inch. So we'll leave it like this. I obviously have to get the fenders in their permanent locations and all the front stuff completely permanent before I really start nitpicking the height. But for now, full lock, and we got plenty of clearance. So that works for now. Let's turn her back. In the future, I'm going to eliminate those bushings that hold the cradle in place and get some solid mounts, just to, I think it helps. Some of these new Mustangs, they have a wheel hop issue. So I might pull those in maybe once I get to the point where I can fine tune the suspension and get it exactly where I want it, maybe 1 inch lower in the back, 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch more in the front. I'll pull that rear IRS again and put those solid bushings in, and it'll be easier to adjust the springs too, because then there won't be any preload on them. That's about it for today. Thanks for watching, and as always, God bless and long live hot rodding.